Okay. On your bat, you have to solve by square roots. Because if you get a problem like this, it is obvious that you should just take the square root, x plus 6 equals plus or minus 7, x plus 6 equals positive 7, x plus 6 equals negative 7. So your solution is 1 and negative 13. Those are your solutions. That means we got some crazy parabola that goes this way, we don't know how far down, through negative 13 and 1. No one would choose to do this by factoring, because if you multiply it out and factor it, guess what? You get that back. So I went ahead and multiplied this, subtracted 49. This is the original equation. If you got it in this form, you would solve by factoring. You would take this and you would get x factors of 13 that give me a positive 12. Negative 13, positive 1. X minus 13 equals 0. No. Who said that? It's positive 13. And negative 1. X plus 13 equals 0. X minus 1 equals 0. Same answer, right?
Yep.
Now, the quadratic formula. I am so sick of you drawing. The quadratic formula, why would you ever need it if you could do it this way or this way?
You wouldn't.
It's not faster. In fact, it's gross. It's gross.
Oh, it's probably.
Okay, I'm going to show you one where, well, you'll see. Let's go ahead and use the quadratic formula. Okay, we're going to set x up as 0 because on a parabola, x is always 0. Negative 3, 0, 1, 0. Negative 13, 0, 1, 0. All right, the opposite, this is how I want you to show work, but I'm going to give you notes to show you so you don't have to remember anything. You know how great we are at remembering things. The opposite of B. Well, let's figure out what A, B, and C are first. A equals?
One.
Oops. A is the number in front of x squared. B equals? 12. C, or the y-intercept?
Negative 13.
Negative 13. Ready? Okay. The opposite of B is negative 12. I want you to go ahead and write the opposite of B. Plus or minus the square root. B squared is, anybody know? 12 squared?
144.
144 minus 4AC. All over 2 times 1. That will be your first step. Everybody's going to show that. It's going to prevent you from missing a bonus, like I gave yesterday. All right? I've taught this for 5 years. The first 2 years, I let kids just plug it all in. There's so many F's. If you show step by step, I just think I'll have more success. Now I want you to go ahead and put in your calculator 144 minus 4 times 1 times negative 13. 196.
You get 41.
All over 2. Once you have it down to this, you're going to split it into 2 expressions Negative 12 plus 14 over 2. Negative 12 minus 14 over 2.
Oh, is the square root of 190?
What are the two answers?
For the plus one, it's just 2.
What?
For
One and
like the plus side, it's just 2.
This
Like
is
the top-
1.
Yeah, 1.
Negative 13. Yep. Now I'm going to show you why you need the quadratic formula. I'm going to give you a parabola that crosses the x-axis, without a doubt. Right there. That crosses the x-axis somewhere. Let's factor it. 2 times 21 is 42. Can you think of factors of 42 that give me negative 4?
7 times 6. No.
How am I going to get negative 4?
Sorry, hold on. Let's see. We have that little cheat sheet thing. I'm going to go back and look at it.
I'm going to give them all to you right here. Is there any way to get negative 4?
No.
There is the reason for the quadratic formula. You know, every time I have you solve by factoring, you always got 90% of the time you got a whole number, or sometimes you got a half. But what happens if you have a parabola that crosses at radical 20? There's no way to get that by factoring. There's no way. You could maybe get it by square roots, depends on the equation, but you're going to have to fix that now to negative 2 radical 5. And that, somewhere between negative 2 and negative 3 is negative 2 radical 5. It's there.
Well, you have to graph it one day.
No, you're not going to graph it because you don't really, the radical 5 is an approximation of 2 point something. Now I'm going to show you how to get an answer in radical form and in decimal form, okay? We're going to use the quadratic formula because we can't factor it. Taking the square root's not going to help us. All right. X is going to always be 0 because on the x-axis it's always 0. The opposite of B. Well, let's decide. A is 2. B is negative 4. C is negative 21. Okay, so the opposite of B, what are we going to write?
Positive 4.
4. Plus or minus the square root. What's B squared? 16. B squared on the back. Always positive. B squared. Always positive. Your number here is always going to be positive, and this is where a lot of you messed up on the bonus, because you got a negative. 16 minus 4. 4 is always there. It's part of the formula. 2, negative 21. By the way, you don't need parentheses here. You can just put here. You can just do this. Times. What do you get inside?
184.
184. So you get 4 plus or minus the square root of 184 over 4. If I tell you to put the answer in radical form, and I believe geometry probably does that a lot, instead of rounding, they just say simplify that. So I'm going to simplify radical 184. This is why we reviewed it, this chapter. That's 4 and 46. I know these aren't easy numbers, but this happens all the time. The square root of 4 is 2. So this is the simplified version of this. So what you're going to do is you're now going to split it into 2. 4 plus radical, forgot the 2. 2 radical 46 over 4, and 4 minus 2 radical 46. And that's the answer in radical form. You actually could just write the answer 4 plus or minus the square root of 46 over 4 if I tell you radical form. Oh, I forgot the 2 again. Jeez. 4 plus or minus 2. That is the final answer. If I tell you to the nearest hundredth, let's do it the other way. You're going to answer it both ways. To the nearest hundredth, and let's see if you can figure this out. Take 4 plus the square root of 184, put that all in parentheses, over 4, divide by 4, and do 4 minus. You need the parentheses so it doesn't divide by 4 first. What do you get? You know, Eli, you could learn how to use your calculator.
Plus, the plus 4, you would get 4.39.
4.39?
Yep.
So x is approximately 4.39, and here x is?
Negative 9.56.
No. No?
Negative 2.2.
Yeah, I think you forgot to divide by 4. Negative 2.39. Make sure you know how to use your calculator to get those two answers right now.
What does that squeak?
That equals that. That equals that. Now, what does that mean? That means you have a parabola, guys. There's my x-axis. 4.39 is somewhere between 4 and 5. Negative 2.39 is somewhere between negative 2 and negative 3. It's approximately here and approximately there. But we don't know exactly. And that's why way back when I told you to solve by factoring, you put no solution. Well, it's not always true. There is a solution. It just was a really ugly solution. Okay? Those parabolas exist. In fact, in the real world, those people that deal with parabolas, you know, and do statistics and things, they get those kind of answers all the time. I just made them nice because, you know, because you're a freshman.
And we're learning the concept.
You know, you're learning the concept. You're not a physicist or anything like that. Okay? Or an astronomer or whatever. Okay. You with me? I think that's enough for the video. Let's practice using the calculator.